Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts returned to practice Wednesday for the first time since leaving the team's Week 16 loss to Washington with a concussion. The Eagles are preparing to host the Green Bay Packers in their first-round playoff game Sunday. Adam Schefter is with us now. And, Adam, there are health questions regarding both of the quarterbacks in the Eagles-Packers game. What more can you tell us about that, starting with Jalen Hurts?
Well, Dan, Jalen Hurts has been back on the practice field, and while the Eagles have listed him as a limited participant, the sense and belief is that he's going to be ready for Sunday's playoff game against the Packers, barring some sort of setback. He still has to pass through the final stages of concussion protocol, but it certainly sounds like the belief and feeling is that he will, and once he does, he will be back on the field after missing last week's game, which would give the Philadelphia Eagles the leader and the quarterback that they want behind center. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love is dealing with an injury to his right elbow, his right hand, has experienced some numbness, has been flexing his hand. The fact of the matter is he's told reporters that he hopes to be able to play, and the feeling is that he also will be able to play. Now, you wonder how much his elbow and hand injury will impact his performance on Sunday, just like you wonder if Jalen Hurts will be a little rusty coming out of protocol, missing some time, missing some practice time. So there are health questions surrounding both quarterbacks heading into Sunday's game, but it would be a surprise if either one of them weren't able to play.
And Jordan Love listed as a full participant in today's practice for the Packers, so obviously an encouraging sign for his availability. Adam, stay close. We'll be back with you in a minute. This will be a strength-on-strength matchup in the run game, as both the Eagles offense and the Packers defense rank in the top 10 in the league in yards per game, yards per rush, 10-yard rushes, and yards before contact per rush. So, Dan Orlovsky, are the Packers going to continue to find success with their run defense against Saquon Barkley and the Eagles?
Obviously a massive challenge, but I really think a huge key in this game is their young linebacker, Edgerrin Cooper. He has been, I don't know off the field this year, but when he's on the field, their run defense is absolutely legit, number one. I think he's got a really good feel for defeating or deceiving double teams, like hopping up, here comes that double team, and then athletic enough to play over the top with some suddenness. The second thing, he's strong. You know, you got to be really good with where your eyes are as an offensive guy to make sure that you take him on in the right spot, because if not, he shoots and kind of closes some seams. His ability to play over the top, almost like his counterpart, Zach Vaughn, in this game, very difficult to block, and then his strength of just running through blocks, never stopping his feet. Just from the offensive perspective, you have to know that this young man is a quick-to-trigger type of linebacker and capable of defeating plenty of blocks. And if I was Philly, respect for everybody's front, your focus point has to be, we got to make sure that we get a hat on 56 all the time, because if we block him, we'll have success. And if we don't, he can in many ways significantly impact how successful we are running the ball.
The thing you said that triggered me the most is that quick trigger that he has of going downhill. Because to me, to stop Saquon Barkley in this offensive line that the Eagles have, you have to penetrate and you have to get in the backfield and force Saquon Barkley to stop his feet. If he doesn't do that and he's coming downhill at you all day, it won't work. The Cleveland Browns did an excellent job against them earlier in the season. They had 5 plays that were for negative or 0 yards, and that had to do with running downhill, as you saw Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah did there, and getting Saquon to not be able to run downhill and go unblocked into the second level of the defense. The Steelers did it as well. They had 7 of those plays where it was negative or 0 yards, and they both held Saquon Barkley for less than 70 yards on the day rushing. But that had to do with that right there. His speed, his ability to make guys miss once he gets going is second to no one. Only way you're going to stop him is to live in the backfield, penetrating up front, not standing at the line of scrimmage, letting those double teams get on you and work their ways up to the linebacker. You're going to have to live in the backfield. So for the Green Bay Packers, firing off the ball, using swim moves, getting in that backfield is going to create some gaps, but you have to be able to get there and get him to stop his feet.
Yeah, game could rest on their ability to limit Saquon. Edgerrin Cooper was named the NFC's Defensive Rookie of the Month in December, so he's playing his best ball at just the right time. A developing story now out of Las Vegas, and Adam Schefter is back with us for that. Adam, Raiders made another change today. What more do we need to know?
Dan, the Raiders fired their general manager, Tom Telesco, 2 days after firing their head coach Antonio Pierce. So both leaders are out in Las Vegas. The Raiders making sweeping changes to their organization. Clearly, they prefer that the head coach and GM come in together at the same time, work together on the same page, and move forward in the same direction. They did not feel that Tom Telesco obviously would be somebody that would be as appealing to some of the head coaching candidates that they're speaking with. They're speaking with Ben Johnson in the coming days here, interviewing him for the head coaching job, and we'll see what transpires here. But the Raiders have made a handful of changes here. Meanwhile, one of the leading coaching candidates, Mike Vrabel, spent today in New England meeting with Patriots officials about their vacant head coaching job. Many people believe that Vrabel is if not the favorite to become the next head coach of the New England Patriots, but he's also got a lot of interest. He's scheduled to speak to other teams as well, and so we'll see whether or not the Patriots can get a deal done with Vrabel. Meanwhile, Pete Carroll interviewing today with the Chicago Bears. Carroll has been interested in getting back into the league after taking off this past season, missed coaching, wants to get back to it, and met with the Bears. Obviously, Caleb Williams went to USC. Pete Carroll succeeded at USC, and the Bears are waiting to see whether there's a match to be made there by talking today with Pete Carroll.
73 years old, Carroll would be the oldest coach in the league if he got the job after that year off. Much more from Adam later in the show. Pete Carroll's Seahawks drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round in 2012, and he turned into a star. Posted a 75 QBR that year, which was significantly better than the one Caleb Williams posted in his rookie year. Carroll's Seattle teams were also known for a dominant run game that allowed a young Russell Wilson to throw more play-action passes, take deeper shots, and as you can see by these numbers, that was an issue for Caleb Williams in his rookie year as well. Regardless, Caleb's going to have to improve his accuracy in order to take the next step, as you see there. So all of that said, Jason McCourty, do you see Pete Carroll as a good fit for Caleb Williams in this Chicago Bears job?
I do. You can put up all the stats and show what he did with Russell Wilson or offensively, what he's going to implement and all of those things. But I think it comes down to culture. You think about Pete Carroll and the impact he had in Seattle. It had to do with positivity and competition. That's what he raved about. You look at the videos where he's out there throwing the ball around with his guys at practice. What Caleb Williams and the Bears need right now is stability. They need a guy to come in, a proven winner like Pete Carroll, a Super Bowl champion level coach that as soon as he comes in and what he tells guys in the meeting room, you believe it right now. And I think that juice, 73 years old, but he walks around, he bops around, and those guys in that building, they need that after the chaos that transpired this season.
I like it on 2 things. 1, can he still coach defense at a high level? And 2, who's his offensive coordinator? I remain adamant that the best thing that you can give a young quarterback in the NFL is a very good defense. It's not a pass-catching tight end. It's not a good run game. You want to give a young quarterback the structure of, hey, you don't have to score 28 to 35 points for us to win the game, and then you can build them up. So can Pete Carroll come to Chicago and get this defense to play at high level? And then the second thing, and I would say this is as important as Pete Carroll, who is your offensive coordinator? It can't be the philosophical stuff of the past when it comes to scheme. It has to be something that is 100% perfect for Caleb Williams.
And Dan, I love what you said about the defensive side of it, because when Seattle was at its best, they were running that Seattle 3. But you think about, they had all pros on every level of that defense. To replicate it, you're going to have to go out there and get some studs. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. You have to draft really well and hope that you have that homegrown talent. But a great point. I remember talking to Sean Payton this season. He said a pass rusher and a running